everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie Colours, and I am back with page 49 of our 4-book colour along in R.J. Hampson's cute little book Awake. This one is called Watching the Game, and I must have had a bit of foresight because I printed this one on Transitite Perfect colouring paper. I think I had done it as a test print when I first downloaded all the books, and then kind of forgotten about it and put it in my folder, and when I pulled it out I was like, oh, that's on the good paper, so this will be a lot of fun. So what are we going to start with? Let's start with our little owls, I think. So I'm going to do YR92 and E310 for some parts of my owls here, so got that around the wrong way. Let's start with those. So just going to add in my shadow as always. And yeah, I can't tell you how nice it is to be using my favourite alcohol marker colouring paper. It really does make a difference. I know I've gone on a lot about the paper in this series. It really does make such a huge difference if you get a nice paper to use. Makes me very happy. So yeah. It just like the marker just goes on much nicer. You don't seem to waste as much marker because it's not kind of bleeding out all over the place, and it just makes it much easier to blend. So there you go. If you can get your hands on some of this Transitite Perfect colouring paper, I highly recommend it. If not, you can still get decent enough results. Most of my book, I think, now has been done without this paper, but it does just make it just, yeah, it's nice. So if it's available, grab it. I think which way my shadows are going to go here. Kind of want them down this side. Okay, let's fill the rest of that in. Yeah, it's funny after colouring on normal copy of paper how different this feels and how smooth it is. So that makes me happy. But my last page will be back on the normal copy of paper because, like I say, I can't find this anymore. I'm really struggling to get hold of it. Perhaps when I get back to the UK, it's something I'll be able to find a little bit more easily. We'll see. I'm just going to add a little bit of that darker colour back in again and kind of really highlight those shadows. Okay, let's do his other wing. Oh, I'm going to start with the wrong one there. I'm going to come around. Okay, and then blend that out. I thought about doing my two little owls in different colours, but I've decided I'm just going to do them the same, just in keeping with the kind of theme of this colour along, which is all about making things easy, quick and easy and simple. So that's what we're going to do. Just add that darker colour back in again. Okay, there's my little wings done. Let's move on to his little legs. It's such a cute little image, this one. I really love it. And they do look like they're all geared up to go and watch, well, I guess, I'm guessing they're in America because they've got hot dogs. I guess you can get hot dogs at football games in the UK and other places, but yeah, they kind of look like American sports fans of some description. Maybe going to watch some, what's played in the winter? Is it the football that's played in the winter? I don't know too much about football and baseball and that sort of stuff. I kind of grew up with rugby, being a New Zealander, so it was all about the rugby. This guy's got his hat quite low. Let me do that all dark there. And then come around these bits. So yeah, if you're doing this at home, you might want to change up the colours of the birds, make them different. You could make them more colourful, that would be quite fun, or do them like one grey and one brown. That would look quite cute as well. But like I say, I just decided to go with keeping things simple and quick and easy, which is kind of the name of the game of this colour along. Okay, so I think under here, and then maybe around this bit. Kind of tucked in behind his friend there. Now, where do his legs go? I think this is going to be dark brown as well. I'm just going to do that all dark brown, and then under here as well. And then we got some little bits around here. Okay, this guy looks like he's geared up for the winter. This guy looks more like a summer bird, so yeah, maybe one just feels the cold, one doesn't, I don't know. One's wrapped up in his scarf and woolly hat, and the other one's just kind of chilling in his baseball cap. Might be like a teenager, eh? Like my teenagers, they wear everything out of season. So it's like getting close to 40 degrees here, and my daughter goes out in a big hoodie all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing a massive hoodie? It's 40 degrees Celsius outside. So, yeah, they like to, and then in the winter they'll be wearing like t-shirts and shorts, you know. Gotta be contrary. So maybe that's what's going on here. Okay, then I'm going to do the kind of belly and around the eyes a little bit lighter, so I've gone for E400 and E380. I'll start with this guy here. I like this kind of, it's like an ash rose kind of colour, which I quite like. I like it for owls. I wish there was like a darker combination of this kind of shade, because I think it works really nicely for owls, but couldn't find one in there. Ohuhu's reminds me of the E70 markers in the Copic range. So if you've got the E70s and the Copics, those would be the colors that I would use. So I would use like the E70 and E71 for these lighter areas, and then like the E77, E79 for the darker bits. It's kind of this really nice warm brown shade, which I really like. Okay, so he's got some kind of droopy eyelids. He's looking a little bit either tired or maybe a little bit hungover, I don't know. We'll colour those in with the same combination. Bring that out a bit. And then let's move on to his belly. So, these same markers. Just pull all that in with the darker bit there. And underneath. And then we'll fill in with the lighter one. So really quick and easy colouring today. Not stressing too much at all. Okay, and then obviously if you're a sports fan, you can kind of colour their outfits to match your team's favourite colours. I don't really follow much in the way of sports these days other than cycling. So I could maybe do them a cycling team's colours. But yeah, I think I'm just going to go with red and blues for my outfits today. I figure they're kind of like a universal colour, aren't they? So yeah, is anybody else a cycling fan out there? The Tour de France will be starting soon, normally in the beginning of July sometime. The Giro d'Italia is just wrapped up and that was pretty exciting. So yeah, we like cycling in my family. We like watching it. My family all are cyclists. They all do a lot of cycling and enter races and all sorts of stuff. I'm like the support crew. I just drive them wherever they need to go. That's my job. And take the photos. Yeah. Okay, so there's my little birds done. I think they look quite cute. Oh, I've got his little head here. This is his little kind of bit of hair poking out here, I think. Almost forgot that bit. Okay, let's move on to their little feet and beaks. So I've got some kind of mustardy yellowy colours because I thought I wanted to put some mustard on, could be ketchup I suppose, but I'm going to do mustard on my hot dog. So I've got Y270, 260 and 230, and I thought these would work quite nicely for the beaks and feet as well. It's like a bit of a, like I say, a bit more of a mustardy kind of shade of yellow. But rather than pulling in, they're all quite similar. A huge amount of difference between those, but yeah, rather than pulling in some other colours, I just figured I'd go with these. I'm going to do this little bit in yellow as well. So I think I'll just use the Y270 and the Y230. Not worry about the 260 because they're all, those 270 and 260 are quite similar. So if I just use those two, put that down, add a little bit more shadow back in. Okay, let's do his other leg here. And at first when I was looking at this, I was getting a bit confused because one of them's obviously overlapping the other foot, and I was like, what is going on here? And then I kind of clicked as to what was going on. It took me a minute. But yeah, these are definitely more of a muted yellow. You could go with a brighter yellow or even an orange. That would look quite cool. I just kind of thought I'd use the same colours as I'm going to use on the mustard. I tend to like to do that, just kind of use the same colours throughout rather than bringing lots of different colours in. And like I say, you could make your birds two different colours as well. It should be quite fun. But aren't they just so cute? I think this is one of my favourite images from the book actually. I really like it. Super cute. Now I'm debating whether to do their eyes yellow as well because owls tend to have orangey yellowy coloured eyes, so maybe we'll do that. I'm going to do the mustard first. Add just a little bit of shadow and a few little spots there for the mustard. Do I do their eyes the same? Why not? So I'm going to start with the lightest colour and just add that in everywhere. I'll do that on both of them. And then I will go in, they look a bit jaundiced, I'll go in with the darker one here. Just add it over the top like that. And then on this one, I'm kind of going to go around the pupil and then kind of have little bits coming off. Just to, I don't know, make it look a bit different. Anyway, let's move on to our, what will I do next? I'm gonna start with his hat, I think. So I'm gonna, well, actually I'm just gonna pull out my reds. So I've got my favorite red combination, R8, R6, and R160. And we'll do a little bit on here. I love this red. It's kind of a really nice, bright pop of red. Kind of lifts the page wherever you put it. Let's do my hot dog. Now, I'm not sure hot dogs are normally this bright red, but I don't want to pull out different colored reds, so we're going to go with this one. Just a touch in there. I don't want to go over the yellow. There we go. And then obviously they're supporting the same team, so they need to have the same colours, right? Or maybe they're friends who have support different teams. I don't know. Could be. You never know. But we're going to colour them the same, so I'm going to do this bit red as well. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with some blue. So I have got PB3, PB2, and PB1 for my blues. And we'll start with the hat here. I think these are nice, bright kind of blue colours. Like I say, it gives a nice pop of colour. Okay, let's come in here. And finish up with this one. Okay, I'm going to do, I'll do the brim of the hat in the same colour. I was kind of debating what I was going to do with that, but I think I'll do it the same. Finish up with our lightest marker. Okay, I think I'm going to do the little button red. I'll come back to that in a minute. So let's start with this guy's hat. So we'll do the same thing with the blues. I'm not sure if they look just like tired or whether they're upset that their team hasn't won or something. I don't know. They look a bit kind of like down and out, don't they? Maybe it was a bad game they were going to watch, whatever sport it ended up being. And okay, let's pull out those reds again. So the same reds I just used. I'm going to do this little button on his hat. I think I'm going to do his scarf red as well, just for an added pop. I feel like that red's really nice and cheery and bright. Okay, really like that red colour combination. It's so pretty. Okay, let's go in with, so I decided to do my coffee cup in similar colours to a well-known coffee cup company or coffee company. So I've gone for G5 and G9. I'm not sure if this is going to be quite right, but I think you know who I'm talking about. A little bit of that on there. If you were really creative, you could put some little logo or something on the inside, couldn't you? Unfortunately, my colouring skills, well, my drawing skills are not that great. Colouring I'm okay at, but the drawing, anything else in is, yeah, that's a step too far for me, unfortunately. I wish I could add bits and pieces. Okay, then I'm going to do, I've forgotten to get a colour out for the bun. Let's have a look. What can we use for that? Kind of want something, maybe these ones, YR9 and Y145. See if I can find them. They're in the skin tone set. YR9 and YR145. Okay, so there we go. Those two I'm going to use on the little bread. Blend that out. I think these are quite good bread colours. Okay, and then I've just got some really light grey marker for, I don't know whether to do this in blue as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that blue before I do anything else. I'm just going to, I was thinking of doing it kind of like a silvery colour, but I think I'll just go with the blue. That will probably make it look a bit better. Okay, so I've got my CG2 and my CG200, which are the kind of really light grey markers in the set. And I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow to my pom-pom here, just to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. So it looks white, but it's got a bit of shadow to it. And then the same with the kind of hat here. I want this kind of, it's almost like a Father Christmas type look, isn't it? But on a sports team cap. So just adding a little bit of shadow around the edges, just to make that look a bit more three-dimensional. Okay, and then same with the lid of my coffee cup here. Add a little bit to the edges. Blend it out slightly with the lighter colour. And there we go. So that was it today. That was a lot of fun. Let's add some white gel pen details as we always do. So I've got my Signo Uniball. This is in the broad size. And I'm just going to come around the edge of that hat there. Maybe a little bit there, and maybe a little bit on the brim. And maybe a touch on the button. I'll do some down there. Maybe a little bit on the side of my owl here. On his beak. On the sausage as well. And then a little bit on his feathers, I think, for sure. Gonna make them stand out a bit. And the same on this side. I just kind of, like I say this every time, I don't really have any kind of real idea about where to put this stuff. I just kind of go with what I think is going to work, and for the most part it looks okay. I don't think there's any kind of majorly wrong way of doing it, put it that way. Just kind of adds a little bit of extra interest. Okay, I think that's about it. I'm just going to really brighten up their little pupils there. A bit more rounded. Now you could put glossy accents over the top. I'm not going to bother because I feel like they're kind of a bit sleepy-ish. So I kind of don't want to make them look too bright. I want them to look a little bit, you know, kind of sleepy, worn out. Maybe they've had a lot of excitement from the game. But that is it. I'm going to leave it at that. That was a really nice and simple one today, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So nice to be using my transitite paper again. I hope you enjoyed that one, and thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again for the very last page of this book next week. That's so exciting. We're going to have an entire book completed. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.